Hi, everyone. Today, I'm excited to bring you a special guest, Yvonne Choi, who is a licensed mortgage agent who's all about simplifying the home financing process. So, Yvonne works with top lenders across Canada, including major banks, trust companies, credit unions, and private lenders, to find the best mortgage solutions tailored to her clients' need and financial goals. So, whether you're a first time home buyer, you're looking to refinance, or you're exploring investment opportunities, she is here to provide her expert insight that can help you navigate the mortgage world with ease. So, welcome, Yvonne, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Glad to have you. So, in today's video, we're talking about alternative lenders and what that means for home buyers. So, if you've ever wondered how alternative lenders compare to banks, why some buyers choose them, or what the approval process looks like, this video is definitely going to be for you. We're going to discuss how credit scores also come into play, and we're also going to talk about some pros and cons that everyone should keep in mind. So, let's start things off with the basics. Yvonne, can you explain what alternative lenders are and how they compare to traditional banks?
So, an alternative lender is basically a lender that's not one of the big six banks. So, sometimes they're known as B lenders, but it also, the category includes private lenders as well. So, alternative lenders, they have more flexible qualifying guidelines and have just more programs that are geared towards helping people qualify for a mortgage, whereas traditional bank mortgages, they have very strict guidelines. You either check all the boxes and you qualify or you don't. So having
Okay.
alternative lenders provides more options and flexibility to be able to qualify for a mortgage.
Okay, that's a great explanation because it's really helpful to understand how alternative lenders provide that flexible option compared to traditional, especially for those buyers that don't necessarily fit into that standard lending criteria. So that does bring me into a next question, which is what are some common reasons a home buyer might turn to an alternative lender instead of going with a traditional bank?
A common reason why someone would choose an alternative lender over a traditional bank is that they don't yet qualify for traditional financing. So whether they have a lower credit score or they don't have the employment history or they have a very unique income situation, we could probably find them an alternative solution to help them get into the market.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So it's great to know that alternative lenders can offer solutions for buyers who may not qualify for like things like you said, like maybe credit challenges or if they're self-employed or other unique financial situations like you mentioned. So now if someone is considering an alternative lender, how does the mortgage approval process differ from what they would experience with like a traditional bank?
So the actual process is very similar. We would collect all your documents and submit your application to the lender, and then they would come back with a commitment. And then once all the conditions are satisfied, it would get instructed to the lawyer. So the actual process is very similar to getting a regular mortgage. The main thing that people need to be aware of is that the alternative lenders are going to be charging a lender fee and their rates are going to be a little bit higher than traditional banks because they do charge a premium because people with lower credit scores may be a little bit more risky in the
Okay.
lender's point of view. So they are going to be charging a little bit more to mitigate that risk.
I see. Okay. I think it's good to know, like, this information is great because I think knowing what will be needed of you ahead of time really lessens the worry and anxiety someone might have if they decide that they want to choose this type of avenue. But it's really good to know also that there's a price to pay for it as well. So, keeping on the same topic of approval, how much weight do alternative lenders place on credit scores in comparison to other banks?
So with the traditional A lenders, prime lenders, they want you to have very good credit scores. So we're talking above 680. With alternative lenders, there are mortgages that we can find for you at all credit scores. So really, really bad credit, people who have had previous consumer proposals or bankruptcies or judgments on their credit bureau report. Um, they don't really look at that. They understand that people go through tough times and are able to provide solutions to help them get back on their feet.
Okay, that's really good to know because I think a lot of the times, especially hearing feedback from clients, if they know that their credit is on the lower end, they just totally think that there's no chance of them to pre-qualify, so they don't even take that opportunity to try. So I think this information is really great to know that you do have options, even if your credit score is a little bit on the lower side. So this brings me to my last question. Before someone decides to go the route of alternative lending, can you talk about any potential downsides that they should be aware of?
So the main downsides would be it would just cost a little bit more. The rates are a little bit higher, but they're not outrageously higher, right? We're
Okay.
starting at maybe 75 to 100 basis points higher than an A lender for the same term. So the rates that we're looking at today, they look very similar to where rates were at prime lenders a couple months ago, right?
Right.
It's not outrageously, they're not trying to get you like people have a very, I guess, bias towards alternative lenders and they think that all
Yeah.
alt lenders are like shark lenders and they're out to like get your home, but that's not the case at all.
Okay.
So just being aware of that. But usually when I'm going through clients' options with them, and if they don't qualify, they know ahead of time what the costs are going to be so that they can make a more educated choice of whether or not they want to wait or whether or not it's worth it for them to get into the market now. Because with alt lenders, they do have shorter terms because they can be used as a stepping stone to allow you the time to rebuild your credit or get that
Oh.
employment history and then transition over to prime lending at the end of your term.
Okay, that's really good to know. And I think you touched on an important part that because that's kind of the same frame of thought that I had about alternative lenders is that like why would you want to go with an alternative lender because you're going to just be paying so much out of pocket. But to know that the rates are not like extremely much higher than that of a normal bank is really good information to know. And as you said, you're providing the information that everybody needs to make an informed decision. So knowing everything up front will allow you to just decide whether this is a good option for you.
Yeah,
So
I
Yvonne,
mean,
thank
there
go
are
ahead.
lenders out there that do charge higher rates, but
Okay.
because when it comes to the rates that they charge, they are based on, loan to value, the location of the property, what the client profile looks like. So it's going to be relative to what the specific situation is, but
Right.
we will always look at what the whole situation is and try and find you the best option.
Sounds good. It makes sense because, like, yeah, like, because as you said, it's not information that you can give to somebody that's going to stay the same for every person, right? Every unique situation is going to be different and is going to have different options. So I think knowing what your options are, as I mentioned before, is just a good stepping stone to know like what option you want to choose, basically. So
Exactly.
Yvonne, yeah. So Yvonne, thank you so much for sharing your insights on alternative lenders. It's clear that they can be a great option for buyers who need that flexibility, but it's also important to weigh the pros and cons before making any decision. So if you're thinking about exploring alternative lending options, working with an experienced mortgage agent like Yvonne, I think, in my opinion, is the best solution for your needs. So thank you again, Yvonne, for your insight and for your time. If you found this video helpful, consider subscribing. And if you think this information would benefit someone else, please go ahead and share this video. If you would like to connect with Yvonne, I will have all her contact details linked in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.